Hello, happy Sunday, or whenever you see this. I'm John Myers, the world's gentle genius, and I'm talking today about how we cannot let other people's fear define us or even trap us, pull us in. That's a capacity of gaslighting, and it's something that goes on a lot in our culture where we get shaken, pulled in by other people's fear. And I'm going to outline 3 steps we can do to disentangle, to pull ourselves back and not allow other people's fear to define us. You know, kind of like an elephant, his greatest fear, sometimes they say, is a mouse. You know, small things can cause big fear to big things if we're not careful. And I want to outline those 3 steps. So the first thing to do, you know, and you can pull it into the realm of gaslighting, narcissism, all kinds of behaviors of today. The first thing to do when you have a reaction to a situation, response, and you see that, you know, what you're feeling is well disproportionate to your own actions. Okay, in other words, you might have done this tiny thing wrong, or not even done a tiny thing. The perception might be you did a little something wrong, and all of a sudden this big cloud of fear and energy is coming at you, and you're saying, and the temptation first of all and foremost is to get involved in it, somehow to defend ourselves from it. And so the skills we teach, you know, with Gentle Genius Coaching and the work I do, you know, is first you have to have a strong sense of self, right? Because you can answer for yourself. Did I really do anything wrong? We know, most of us are good people. We know if we did something significantly that wasn't right. So the first question to ask, you know, did I do something substantially wrong here? And if the answer is no, and you're still feeling that fear and you see this kind of cloud of energy coming towards you, the first step is that recognition, is to say, wait a minute, I didn't do anything that wrong. Maybe I made an error. You know, again, it's allowing our humanness, right? You can check out our Restore Our Humanity website. But, you know, basically it's like, you know, we have to allow ourselves to be human, not to fit into these phenomenally strict perspectives of life and behavior. You know, so okay, if you step into it, point at 1 is, you know, the recognition. This reaction is far disproportionate from my own actions. Maybe I made an error or whatever, but I'll deal with that if I need to. But, you know, the reaction is so strong. Second, then, is once the recognition comes about, and here's a key point, is to disentangle. While the temptation would be to go forward, to try to defend yourselves, you know, convince the other person, whatever it be in terms of those realms of behavior, that's probably not, you know, in terms of your own sanity, in terms of moral strength, the right step, a great step at that point is to disentangle from the situation. Pull back and say, you know what, I'm not going to play into that other person's energy. If they're being highly disproportionate, and here's a bonus point, by the way, let me interject this right away, that sometimes we go forward, for instance, you know, we want to move on because, you know, our own interests or our own desires are wrapped up. You know, it could be a pair of pants, a relationship. You know, we want this. We tell ourselves we want this thing. And so we're going, you know, especially if you're a good person, sometimes they're not always attuned to the psychological energy. We kind of happily go, you know, traipse on forward into that situation. So this is where we have to learn, self-regulate our boundaries. You know, so if something is not proportionate, even if we want something, we have to have that capacity to pull back. Because if the reaction we're getting at any point is highly disproportionate to our own actions, we need to disentangle, which means stepping back, doing something else, going another direction. But whatever it be, you know, you may have to re-engage with the situation if it's a substantial matter, but basically you pull back, you disentangle from that energy, go outside, get some fresh air, whatever it be, take that step back. So disentangle is step 2. And third, ironically, is this: once you've really pulled back, and again assess, because mostly you don't want something that's going to create that much disarray, that much tension over a little issue. I don't care what it is, a house, a relationship, clothing, anything. You don't want something that's going to cause so much disproportionate energy. And the third point is, once you've kind of crossed those two thresholds, and again, our coaching can really help people get to these points because they're not always easy to get to. The third point is even to have some compassion for that other person, okay? Not, doesn't mean you disregard the first 2 points. You don't jump right to compassion. Compassion is earned on your part and their part. And compassion may never be communicated to them. It might just be something you understand, because you do have to first recognize, you need to disentangle. And then the compassion is to realize, wait, this person is reacting in that way because they've got some trauma. There's something really unresolved in them. The notion of triggered, something is affecting them in a way that's creating this disproportionate action. And it may be, in their own way, some cry for need, but you can't really respond to that need unless they learn a way to appropriately and respectfully communicate their need to you. There's no way you want to be, around-the-clock firefighter with blessings and love to our public safety, fire, and police people and all that, but you don't want to be that on a regular call in a relationship. So you can have, by what I say by compassion is, you can understand it is their trauma, and you can respect that. And if an opportunity ever comes up to communicate that in an appropriate fashion, you say, I can be supportive in that way, but you don't begin. And that's something, here's a key point, that's something the other person has to earn, your compassion. You can keep it in your mind, you can understand. It is their challenges which are, causing this elephant, the elephant to fear a mouse. Not that one person's an elephant and the other's a mouse, but the truth of one person can be very large, and the truth of another in a situation can be very small, and yet be blown up into a cloud of figurative cloud of situation. So the key being, you don't offer the compassion unless you know it's going to be appreciated and reciprocated, which a lot of times it won't be. But compassion can be something you build, and it's a growth step for you to reach that level. So you can go to our websites, restoringourhumanity.com, www.theworldsgenius, related to theworldsbestmediator.com, and you can start taking a look at the philosophy, the psychology I offer in terms of gentle genius work, and whether you're a company, a family, or an individual, how you can strengthen yourself in terms of making the next step. But in today's day and age, with so much communication in so many ways and so much of it unended, you don't want to get involved. You have to learn these 3 key steps of recognition, disentanglement, compassion, for your own survival and your own thriving in today's psychology.